High above the bright clouds of many worlds, a giant station floated in silent space. It was called the Grand Hall of the Galactic Council. The hall was bigger than any city on Earth. Long golden bridges crossed wide open air. Light from distant stars shone through tall crystal windows. Thousands of symbols glowed on floating screens, showing maps of the galaxy, trade routes, and war zones. Today, the council had gathered again. Dozens of alien leaders sat on tall thrones made of stone, metal, and living crystal. Each throne showed the power of its race. Some leaders were tall and thin with glowing eyes. Some were wide and heavy with hard skin like rock. Some floated in the air, surrounded by soft light. At the center sat the High Speaker of the Council. His long silver robe touched the floor. His many eyes moved slowly across the hall. His voice, when he spoke, was calm and deep. "Let us begin," he said. The room grew quiet. A large screen appeared in the air. On it was a blue planet. Earth. A small alien leader stood and pointed at the image. His skin shimmered like oil in light. "The human world grows weaker each cycle," he said proudly. "Their fleets are damaged. Their colonies are lost. Their allies have left them." Soft laughter spread across the hall. Another leader leaned forward. He had sharp teeth and eyes that never blinked. "They were brave," he said. "But bravery does not win wars. Power does." More laughter. The council had been fighting humans for many years. At first, they had feared them. Humans learned fast. Humans built strong ships. Humans refused to surrender. But slowly, the council believed the war was over. Human fleets had disappeared from the borders. Their trade lines were silent. No new colonies had been seen. To the council, this meant only one thing: defeat. One tall leader with glowing blue veins stood up. "Earth hides now," he said. "They are tired. They are broken. Soon they will beg for peace." The High Speaker nodded. "Good," he said calmly. "Then our victory is near." The council felt proud. They had ruled the galaxy for thousands of years. No young race had ever defeated them. Humans were only a small species from one yellow star. Dangerous once. But now, finished. The High Speaker raised one long finger. "Send another warning message," he said. "Tell Earth to surrender and accept our rule." A council officer bowed and turned to leave. But before he could move, a soft sound echoed through the hall. Beep. A small red light appeared on one of the far screens. No one noticed at first. The leaders continued speaking. "We should divide their last colonies," said one. "I claim the mining worlds." "I want their ship designs," said another. They spoke as if Earth was already gone. Then the red light blinked again. Beep. This time, a young council assistant looked up. His eyes widened. He tapped the screen quickly. Another light appeared. Then another. Then 5 more. Soon, dozens of red lights flashed across the great star map. The assistant stood slowly. His voice trembled. "High Speaker, we have a report." The hall quieted. The High Speaker looked annoyed. "Speak," he said. The assistant swallowed. "Unknown fleets, appearing near our outer systems." Soft murmurs filled the hall. The High Speaker waved his hand. "Probably pirates," he said. "Or broken human ships running away." The assistant hesitated. "No, sir," he said quietly. "These ships, they are organized. Moving in perfect lines." A leader laughed loudly. "Humans cannot even repair their own engines," he said. "How could they attack us?" More laughter. The assistant pressed another control. The screen zoomed in. The shapes became clear. Hundreds of ships. Long, dark, and sharp. Human design. The hall slowly fell silent. One leader leaned forward. "Is this a retreat fleet?" he asked. The assistant shook his head. "No, my lord," he whispered. "They are not leaving. They are moving deeper into council space." A strange feeling passed through the hall. Not fear. Not yet. More like confusion. The high speaker studied the screen. His many eyes narrowed. "How many ships?" he asked. The assistant checked. "Too many to count, sir." Another light flashed. Then another. New fleets appeared, in different systems. All human. All moving forward. A quiet voice spoke from the back of the hall. "That is not retreat." The leaders turned. An old council member slowly stood. His skin was pale, his movements slow. "That," he said softly, "is formation for war." Silence. The high speaker stood from his throne. "Impossible," he said. "Humans are defeated." But even as he spoke, the first border station went dark. One symbol vanished from the map. Then another. Then 10 more. The assistant whispered, almost to himself. "They are not running. They are coming." And for the first time in many years, the Galactic Council did not feel confident anymore. Far away from the shining halls of the Galactic Council, Earth was quiet. Too quiet. To the galaxy, it looked like a dying world. Human trade ships no longer crossed the main space lanes. No human signals answered alien calls. Their border stations stayed dark. Many believed Earth had accepted defeat. But deep below the planet's surface, the truth was very different. Under mountains, oceans, and deserts, huge doors slowly opened. Hidden shipyards came alive. Lights turned on after years of darkness. Metal arms moved again. Engines roared softly as new ships were built in silence. Humanity had not stopped. Humanity had only gone underground. In a deep command base beneath the ice of the Northern Pole, a group of human leaders gathered. The room was simple. No gold. No statues. No shining thrones. Only steel walls, glowing screens, and long tables covered with star maps. At the center stood Admiral Kane. He was tall, with gray hair and calm eyes. His uniform was clean but old, marked by many past battles. He looked at the screens. They showed alien borders. Council fleets. Supply lines. Everything. Humans had watched the council for years. Without being seen. Around the table stood generals, scientists, and fleet commanders. No one spoke loudly. This was not a room for pride. This was a room for survival. A young officer stepped forward. "All fleets are in position," she said quietly. "Stealth systems active. No signals leaking." Admiral Kane nodded. "Good." Another commander spoke. "Our new drives are stable. We can cross 3 systems in one jump." A scientist added. "Shield breakers are ready. Alien armor will not stop them." The room stayed calm. No cheers. No smiles. Only focus. Humans had learned the council's mistakes. Aliens showed power. Humans hid power. For years, the council attacked human colonies. Burned cities. Destroyed fleets. Humans lost worlds. Millions died. But instead of answering with anger, they studied. They copied alien weapons. They learned alien tactics. They improved everything. While the council celebrated small victories, Earth prepared for something bigger. Admiral Kane placed his hand on the table. They think we are finished, he said. Several officers nodded. They think we are afraid, he continued. They think we will beg for peace. His eyes hardened. But humans do not beg. He pointed at the star map. We strike here first, he said. Supply hubs. Then command relays. Then shipyards. A commander raised a hand. Sir, what about the council worlds themselves? Kane shook his head. Not yet, he said calmly. We cut their legs first. Then we let them fall. The plan was simple. No speeches. No warnings. No threats. Only speed. Only surprise. Only force. Far above Earth, in hidden space docks, the human fleet waited. Thousands of ships floated in perfect silence. They were dark in color, covered with smooth armor. No bright lights. No flags. Only small glowing marks near their engines. New designs. Longer hulls. Sharper fronts. Heavy weapon ports hidden behind moving plates. These ships were not made to look beautiful. They were made to win. Inside one of the largest carriers, Captain Reyes walked along the flight deck. Rows of fighter pilots stood ready beside their ships. Young faces. Old faces. All serious. No fear showed. Reyes stopped near one pilot. First mission, he asked. The pilot nodded. Yes, sir. Scared? The pilot thought for a moment. Not scared, he said. Just, ready. Reyes smiled slightly. Good answer. Across the fleet, final checks were made. Weapons loaded. Shields tested. Drives warmed. In a silent chamber deep inside Earth, a single message was prepared. Not for the Council. For the fleet. One short sentence. No anger. No pride. Only command. Admiral Kane stood before a camera. Behind him, the human flag hung quietly. He spoke slowly. Humanity does not run, he said. Humanity does not forget. He paused. Begin Counterstrike. Across hundreds of systems, engines ignited. Space bent. Light twisted. And in one single moment, the human fleet vanished from Earth's orbit. They did not announce their return. They did not ask permission. They simply appeared. Inside the heart of enemy space. And far away, in the proud halls of the Galactic Council. The first reports were still arriving. Too slowly. Too late. Because while the Council was still talking, humanity was already moving. And the galaxy was about to learn something it had forgotten. Humans were quiet. But when they chose to fight, they fought to end wars. The first strike came without sound. No warning signal. No message. No challenge. In the dark space near the Council's outer border, a lonely alien station drifted quietly. Its crew watched routine screens, bored and tired. Then space folded. Light bent. And human ships appeared. Dozens at first. Then hundreds. They did not come from one direction. They came from everywhere. Before the station could send a single alarm, thin beams of white fire crossed space. Communication towers vanished in flashes of light. Shield generators exploded in silent storms. The station died in less than 10 seconds. No survivors. Across the same moment, in another system, an alien fleet guarded a fuel depot. Their ships floated in neat lines, engines idle. Human shadows appeared behind them. Missiles launched. Fast. Silent. Perfect. Engines were cut first. Then weapons. Then command bridges. The alien ships never even turned. They burned slowly, drifting apart like broken toys. In a third system, a large shipyard worked day and night, building new council cruisers. Metal arms moved. Workers floated between frames. Then alarms screamed. Too late. Human bombers passed through the outer shield like ghosts. Heavy charges hit the central docks. The shipyard broke in half. Half-built ships fell into the blue fire below. In minutes, the system was empty. No council ships remained. Across dozens of systems, the same pattern repeated. Supply lines vanished. Fuel depots burned. Relay stations went dark. Human attacks were fast and clean. They did not destroy cities. They did not kill civilians. They cut only the veins of war. Alien commanders tried to answer. But every command they sent went nowhere. Relays were gone. Maps were wrong. Old defense plans failed. Human ships moved in strange paths, jumping in short bursts, changing direction without pattern. The Council's proud border fleets rushed to defend key systems. They arrived to find only fire and silence. In one large battle near a red star, the Council finally met the human fleet face to face. 30 heavy alien cruisers formed a wall. Their weapons glowed. Their shields rose. They were ready. Then space opened again. Human carriers appeared behind them. Not 10. Not 50. Hundreds. Alien sensors failed to lock targets. Human ships moved too fast. Fighters launched in waves. Missiles came from impossible angles. Alien beams hit empty space. Human torpedoes found engines, bridges, power cores. One cruiser tried to retreat. Its jump drive failed. Another lost control and crashed into its own ally. The battle ended in 6 minutes. Not one human capital ship was lost. When the last alien cruiser exploded, the human fleet did not stay. They vanished again. Like ghosts. In council command centers, officers shouted at broken screens. System 7 is gone. No contact with Fleet Alpha. Supply hub destroyed. Maps filled with red marks. Too many. Too fast. One alien admiral stood shaking before his officers. This is not possible, he said. They were finished, they were weak. A technician whispered. They learned faster than we did. At the edge of council space, a massive defense fortress powered up its ancient guns. It had not fired in centuries. Human dreadnoughts appeared far away. The fortress fired first. Its beams crossed empty space. Human ships split apart and reformed. Then one single human weapon fired. A slow, bright line of energy touched the fortress. The shields failed. The core collapsed. The fortress became dust. And still, no message came from humanity. No threats. No victory speech. Only attacks. Only precision. Only silence. Inside one human command ship, Admiral Kane watched the reports arrive. System after system cleared. Fleet after fleet broken. His officers waited. Proceed to Phase 2, he said calmly. Human fleets changed direction. They moved deeper. Toward Council command worlds. Toward ship factories. Toward power centers. Far away, in the golden halls of the Galactic Council. The leaders were no longer laughing. One by one, proud symbols vanished from their map. Entire regions turned dark. For the first time in history. The Council did not control the war. The war controlled them. And the sudden truth began to rise inside every alien mind. Humanity had not returned to survive. Humanity had returned. To decide who ruled the galaxy. The Grand Hall of the Galactic Council was no longer calm. Alarms cried from every wall. Screens flashed red. Symbols disappeared faster than anyone could follow. Leaders shouted. Assistants ran. Guards stood frozen, unsure what to do. The great hall that once showed pride and power now showed only chaos. At the center, the High Speaker stood in silence. His many eyes moved across the maps. Too many dark zones. Too many lost systems. A trembling officer rushed forward. High Speaker, he said, breathless. We have lost 12 border fleets, and 3 major shipyards. Murmurs filled the hall. One leader rose sharply. That is impossible, he shouted. Our fleets outnumber humans 10 to 1. Another leader pointed at the screen. Then where are they? He asked. No one answered. On one map, a line of human symbols moved slowly toward the inner systems. Straight toward Council territory. Not hiding. Not turning. Advancing. An old leader leaned on his staff. This is not how humans fight, he said quietly. They used to charge, and die. A younger leader hissed. Then why are they winning? A new alarm sounded. A loud, deep tone. Emergency channel. The High Speaker turned. Report. A tall officer appeared on the main screen. His face was pale. Central relay destroyed, he said. All outer commands disconnected. We cannot contact half our fleets. The hall erupted. Restore connection. Send reserve fleets. Close the inner gates. Orders flew in every direction. But nothing worked. Messages vanished. Signals failed. Maps refused to update. The Council had ruled the galaxy for centuries. They had never lost control like this. One leader slammed his claw on the floor. This is sabotage, he shouted. Find their spies. Find their bases. A calm voice answered from across the hall. You will not find them. The leaders turned. It was the ancient member again. The one who had warned them before. His voice was slow, but clear. Humans do not hide inside our systems, he said. They hide inside our plans. Some laughed nervously. What does that mean? One asked. The ancient leader raised a thin finger. They know where we send fleets. They know which worlds matter. They strike before we can defend. Silence followed. The High Speaker studied the Old One. Are you saying, they predicted all this? The ancient leader nodded. They did not wait for victory, he said. They built it. Another officer ran in. High Speaker. Emergency from Fleet Gamma. The screen showed a burning battlefield. Alien ships exploded one by one. Human fighters moved between them like shadows. Our weapons cannot track them, the officer cried. They change patterns every second. The signal cut. The screen went dark. Fear spread slowly through the hall. Not loud fear. Quiet fear. The kind that sits inside the chest. One leader whispered. Are we losing? No one answered. The High Speaker finally spoke. His voice was still calm, but weaker. Send all remaining fleets to protect the inner council worlds. An advisor hesitated. Sir, that will leave the borders open. The High Speaker turned sharply. There may be no borders left soon, he said. The order was given. Massive fleets began to move. Thousands of ships rushed toward the center. But the humans were already there. In a command tower near the council core, analysts studied incoming data. One young analyst looked confused. These attacks, they are not random, she said. They are shaping something. Her commander frowned. Explain. She pointed at the map. They destroy supply first. Then communication. Then fleets that respond. She drew a circle. They are slowly closing around us. The commander felt cold. A siege, he whispered. Back in the Grand Hall, the leaders argued again. We should open peace talks. No. Show strength. Threaten their homeworld. The High Speaker raised his hands. Enough. The hall quieted. We will send a message, he said. Demand they stop. Offer terms. An officer prepared the transmission. But before it could be sent, every screen changed at once. Static filled the air. Then, a new signal appeared. Not from the council. From humanity. The hall froze. The signal was not a video. Not a voice. Just coordinates. And a short message. Observe. A leader laughed nervously. Observe what? The coordinates marked a distant system. A minor council stronghold. The leaders watched as the screen zoomed in. The system looked normal. Then space opened. Human ships appeared. Not many. Only 5. The council leaders relaxed slightly. That is all, one mocked. Then the human ships fired. One single weapon from each. 5 slow beams crossed space. They touched the planet below. Nothing happened for a moment. Then the planet's shield collapsed. Its core destabilized. The world did not explode. It folded. Space twisted. Space twisted. The planet collapsed into a bright sphere of light. Then vanished. The system was empty. No debris. No fire. Just nothing. Silence filled the Grand Hall. Some leaders fell back in their thrones. One whispered in fear. They can erase worlds. The High Speaker stared at the empty system. His many eyes darkened. This is not a counterattack, he said slowly. This is a message. The ancient leader nodded. Yes, he said quietly. They are not asking for peace. They are showing us what happens next. And for the first time since the council was created, every leader understood the truth. The war was no longer about control. It was about survival. And humanity was no longer the weak race begging to live. Humanity had become the storm. And the Galactic Council was standing directly in its path. Far from the burning worlds and broken fleets, inside a quiet human command ship, the war continued without noise. No shouting. No panic. Only calm voices and moving lights. Admiral Kane stood before a wide glass screen that showed the heart of Council space. Red marks slowly faded. Blue lines moved forward. Each line was a human fleet. Each movement was planned. An officer stepped beside him. Phase 1 complete, she said softly. 80% of enemy supply lines destroyed. Communication across outer systems, almost gone. Kane nodded. Good, he said. Begin Phase 3. The officer paused. Sir, the Council is moving all remaining fleets inward. They are trying to protect their core worlds. Kane allowed himself a small smile. That is exactly where we want them, he said. Across space, human fleets changed direction again. They did not rush toward the Council. They moved sideways. Around. Cutting paths no one expected. In one distant system, a Council factory world worked desperately. Hundreds of machines built ships day and night. Workers were forced to continue even as alarms screamed. Then human probes arrived. Tiny. Almost invisible. They did not attack. They only watched. For 1 full hour. Then, the power grid failed. The factory lights died. Engines shut down. Defense shields dropped. And from far away, human cruisers fired precise strikes. Only the control centers. Only the reactors. The city itself was untouched. The factories stopped forever. In another system, a council fleet gathered near a massive asteroid base. They waited for human attack. Hours passed. Nothing came. Then suddenly, the stars changed. Human ships appeared inside the asteroid field. Close. Too close. The council ships could not turn. Human weapons hit engines first. Then sensors. Then command bridges. The fleet surrendered in minutes. Not destroyed. Captured. Human boarding teams entered calmly. No anger. No revenge. Only silence. The captured admiral was taken to a human ship. He was old, proud, and confused. "Why do you not kill us?" he asked. The human officer answered simply. "Dead enemies teach nothing." The alien did not understand. Yet. Back in the Galactic Council Hall, analysts worked without rest. They watched the map change. One analyst finally spoke. Her voice shook. "High Speaker. I see a pattern." The leaders turned. She enlarged the map. Human attacks formed strange lines. Not toward planets. Toward intersections. "These points," she said, pointing. "They connect trade, fuel, and command routes." Another analyst whispered. "They are breaking the spine of our empire." The ancient council member slowly nodded. "They are not fighting fleets," he said. "They are killing the idea of our power." A leader slammed his fist. "Then send everything we have. Crush them with numbers." The High Speaker hesitated. "How many ships remain?" An officer checked. "Less than 40%, sir." "Many without fuel." "Many without orders." Silence. The council had never imagined such a situation. They had thousands of ships. But no way to move them. No way to guide them. No way to supply them. The empire still looked large. But inside, it was hollow. In human space, the second phase reached its end. A fleet commander reported to Kane. Enemy shipyards disabled. Captured 3 data cores. Council strategy files recovered. Kane raised an eyebrow. "Show me." The screen filled with alien plans. Old plans. Rigid plans. Predictable. Kane studied them. "They still fight like an empire," he said quietly. "Slow. Heavy. Proud." An officer asked. "And we fight like?" Kane answered without looking away. "Like survivors." Across the fleet, new orders were sent. Not attack orders. Movement orders. Human ships began to surround key council worlds. Not close enough to be seen. Far enough to stay hidden. They waited. Inside a council command tower, panic grew. One commander shouted. "We have fleets but no fuel." Another cried. "We cannot track human jumps." A third whispered. "Our allies are abandoning us." Several minor species began to declare neutrality. Some closed borders. Some offered secret support to humanity. The council's power was fading. Not with explosions. With silence. In one final report, a senior analyst stood before the High Speaker. Her voice was calm. Almost respectful. "High Speaker, humanity is not trying to defeat us quickly." The High Speaker looked tired. "Then what are they doing?" She answered slowly. "They are teaching the galaxy who really controls war." The ancient leader smiled sadly. "Yes," he said. "They are not winning battles. They are rewriting the rules. Far away, on Admiral Kane's ship, a new message arrived. Council fleets massing near the core. Defenses rising. The final stand approaching. Kane folded his hands behind his back. Good, he said quietly. Now they are ready to listen. An officer looked surprised. Listen to what, sir? Kane turned toward the stars. To the part we have not shown them yet. He paused. To the part that ends empires. And in the deep silence of space, humanity prepared the next move. Not a weapon. Not a fleet. But a message. One that would not shake ships. One that would shake minds. Because the counterstrike was not yet complete. The real victory was still coming. In the center of Council space, near the oldest stars, the remaining fleets gathered. Hundreds of damaged ships formed a defensive wall around the core worlds. Shields rose high. Ancient cannons powered up. This was the last line. Behind them lay the heart of the Empire. Council command towers. Government worlds. History itself. Inside the Grand Hall, the leaders watched the map in silence. No more shouting. No more arguing. Only waiting. They knew the next human move would decide everything. An officer stepped forward. High Speaker, human fleets are no longer advancing. Confusion spread. They stopped, one leader asked. Yes, the officer said. They are holding position, far outside weapon range. The hall filled with whispers. Are they afraid? Are they waiting for reinforcements? The ancient leader shook his head slowly. No, he said. They are preparing something else. Minutes passed. Then every screen flickered. All council channels opened at once. Not hacked. Not forced. Opened. A single human signal appeared. Clear. Strong. Calm. No weapons followed it. No fleets moved. Only, a message. The High Speaker stood. Display it, he said quietly. The image changed. A human figure appeared. Not a soldier. Not an admiral. Just a man in simple uniform, standing in a quiet room. Behind him, no flags. No symbols. Only stars. He looked directly into the camera. His face showed no anger. No pride. Only control. He spoke slowly, in clear basic language that every species could understand. This is a message from humanity, he said. Across thousands of worlds, billions of beings stopped what they were doing. Markets fell silent. Ship crews froze. Rulers leaned forward. The man continued. For many years, you attacked our worlds. You destroyed our cities. You killed our people. His voice did not rise. We asked for peace. You answered with fire. In the Grand Hall, several leaders looked away. We did not come to rule you, the human said. We did not come to replace you. A pause. We came to stop you. The room held its breath. You believed humans were weak, he continued. You believed time would break us. Another pause. But time taught us something instead. The image changed. Behind the man, scenes appeared. Human cities rebuilding. Shipyards growing. Children studying star maps. We learned patience, he said. We learned restraint. The image shifted again. Human fleets moving silently. Alien bases falling without warning. And we learned how empires fall. The council leaders trembled. The man's eyes remained calm. You rule through fear, he said. You control through silence. His voice hardened slightly. We will remove both. A new image appeared. Council supply lines, marked in red. One by one, they vanished. Your fleets will run out of fuel, the human said. Your worlds will run out of food. Still calm. No cities will burn. No civilians will die. A final image appeared. Council command worlds, surrounded by faint human fleet markers. You will have a choice, he said. The hall leaned forward. Surrender control of your war fleets. Dissolve the Council military command. Open free borders for all species. He paused. If you refuse. The screen showed the erased planet again. Empty space. You will watch your empire disappear. No threat. No emotion. Just fact. The man finished. This message will not repeat. The image vanished. Silence followed. Not one leader spoke. Not one moved. For a long moment, the only sound in the hall was breathing. Then one small leader whispered. They are not asking. They are declaring. The high speaker closed his eyes slowly. This is not war, he said. This is judgment. Across the galaxy, reactions exploded. Some species cheered. Some cried. Some fled. Many began to send secret signals to human space. Asking for protection. Asking for alliance. Asking for forgiveness. In the Council fleets, morale broke. Captains questioned orders. Crews whispered about surrender. Some ships powered down their weapons on their own. Inside one human command ship, Admiral Kane watched the galaxy respond. An officer approached. Sir, they are afraid. Kane nodded. They should be. But we are not finished, the officer said. Kane's eyes stayed on the stars. No, he replied quietly. Now, we begin the hardest part. The officer hesitated. Which is? Kane answered. Teaching the galaxy. How to live without an empire. Far away, in the Grand Hall, the leaders finally began to speak again. Not about victory. Not about conquest. About survival. About surrender. About a future they no longer controlled. And in the deep silence of space. For the first time in history. The Galactic Council waited. Not for battle. But for humanity's decision. Because the Counterstrike had shattered fleets. Broken systems. Destroyed pride. But now. It threatened something far greater. The very idea of who deserved to rule the stars. And the galaxy would never be the same again. The Grand Hall of the Galactic Council had never felt so small. Once, this hall had been filled with pride, laughter, and loud voices. Now, it was heavy with silence. Leaders sat on their thrones, unmoving. Some stared at the empty screen where the human message had ended. Some stared at the floor. Some stared into nothing. The high speaker slowly opened his eyes. For the first time in centuries, he did not know what to say. Around the galaxy, reports arrived without pause. Minor species declared independence. Trade worlds closed their gates. Allied fleets refused to move. The empire was breaking. Not with fire. With doubt. An officer stepped forward. High Speaker, 3 council fleets have powered down their weapons. A leader gasped. They disobey orders. Yes, my lord, the officer said. They say, the war is already over. Murmurs spread. Another officer rushed in. 2 member species have left the council. They have opened talks with humanity. A third whispered. Our outer governors request permission to surrender. The word echoed in the hall. Surrender. A leader jumped to his feet. This is madness, he shouted. We still have worlds. We still have ships. The ancient council member rose slowly. His voice was soft, but it filled the hall. "We have ships," he said. "But no future." The leader turned angrily. "You would kneel to humans?" The ancient one shook his head. "No," he replied. "I would stand, while we still can." Silence followed. Outside the hall, council citizens watched the sky. Human fleets could not be seen. But everyone felt them. Like a shadow over every star. In one command world, a young officer refused an order to fire. "They will destroy us," he told his commander. "There is no victory left." His commander did not argue. He closed the channel. And powered down the guns. Across the empire, similar choices were made. One by one, defense grids shut off. One by one, fleets stopped moving. Not from defeat. From understanding. Back in the grand hall, the high speaker finally stood. His silver robe trembled slightly. "We cannot fight this," he said quietly. Some leaders protested. Some cried. Some nodded in relief. He continued. "The council was built to protect the galaxy. But we became its chains." The ancient leader bowed his head. "Then let us break them ourselves." The high speaker turned to the central control. "Open a channel to humanity." An officer hesitated. "Which command?" The high speaker thought for a moment. Then said. "All of them." The signal went out. Across space, every human fleet received it. Admiral Kane stood before his screen. The council symbol appeared. The high speaker's image formed. His many eyes looked tired. "Humanity," he said slowly. "We accept your terms." Across the fleet, quiet passed. Kane answered calmly. "Then begin," he said. The high speaker raised his hand. "In the name of the Galactic Council," he declared. "We dissolve the Supreme Military Command." Gasps filled the hall. "All war fleets are ordered to stand down." More gasps. "All borders open." "All occupied worlds, released." Some leaders collapsed into their seats. Some removed their crowns. Some wept. The empire ended. With a sentence. Across space, human fleets did not move. They did not celebrate. They simply waited. Kane gave one final order. "Hold position. No advance." An officer asked softly. "Sir, they surrendered." Kane nodded. "Yes," he said. "But peace is harder than war." In the Grand Hall, leaders signed new treaties. Not as rulers. As equals. Minor species sent messages of thanks to Earth. Some called humanity saviors. Some called them guardians. Some called them monsters. Humans accepted none of the titles. They only enforced one rule. No empire. No council armies. No species above another. In the weeks that followed, the galaxy changed. Trade routes reopened. Prison worlds were freed. Old laws were erased. And slowly, life began again. In one quiet moment, the ancient council member met the high speaker alone. "We were wrong," the ancient one said. "Yes," the high speaker replied. "We thought power came from control." "And now?" the ancient asked. The high speaker looked toward the stars. "Now," he said. "Power belongs to those who know when to stop." Far away, on Earth, children looked up at the night sky. They did not know about fleets or councils or empires. They only saw stars. And possibility. In human command, Admiral Kane prepared his final report. "The war is over," he said simply. A young officer smiled. "So humanity won." Kane shook his head. "No," he said. Humanity ended the game. And in the great history of the galaxy, that moment would be remembered forever. Not as the fall of an empire, but as the day a quiet species from one small world taught the stars how to live without fear.